India is about to undergo a major period of demographic change. Now, the driver of this shift in demographics is a large decline in fertility. Now, for a country where we are used to always worrying about population growth rates, it will come as some surprise to many people that we are going to see our total fertility rate fall to replacement levels by 2021. In other words, we will no longer be producing enough babies in order to replace ourselves. Now, this doesn't mean that population growth rate will immediately go down to zero. For some decades, we will see population growth happening because we are living longer. Nevertheless, it is quite a big shift to be coming to a state where our fertility is below these replacement rates. In fact, for many parts of the country, this is already true for some time now. For example, for southern states like Tamil Nadu, Kerala, for some northern states like Himachal, Punjab, in the east we have West Bengal, where these fertilities have been below replacement rate for quite some time now. In fact, the age group 0 to 19 has already peaked in India, and for the next few decades we will begin to see the proportion of population in this bracket steadily decrease. On the other hand, we will begin to see the proportion of population of working age go up very, very sharply. This is what, as many of you know, is called the demographic dividend period. Now, these changes require us to rethink fundamentally many things about the way we do public provision of basic services. I'll give you a few illustrations. Take, for example, primary schools. Now, generally, most people will be under the impression that we need to keep building more and more primary schools. But as I just pointed out to you, the population in the 0 to 19 age bracket has already peaked and is beginning to come down quite steadily. In fact, in many parts of the country, we are well advanced down this path. So, in order to make these schools viable in states like Kerala, Himachal, Uttarakhand, Punjab, Tamil Nadu, etc., we will now have to begin to think seriously about how to consolidate schools in order to keep them viable. Now, this is not an argument for investing less in primary education. I'm just pointing out that we need to think much more of quality rather than quantity. Of course, there are parts of the country like Bihar and Uttar Pradesh where we still need to roll out more schools. So, there are big variations across the country. The same thing is true, by the way, on the other end of the demographic scale. We will see many states in India, as I mentioned, Tamil Nadu, Kerala, and Punjab and so on, where the proportion of population that is above the age of 60 will go up very, very sharply. Tamil Nadu, for example, will clearly begin to age by the 2030s, which is not so far away. So, there are big variations around the country, and meanwhile, of course, the Gangetic Plains will remain relatively young and will perhaps be providing large numbers of migrants to the rest of the country because they will have an ever-growing proportion of population of working age. There's another area that we need to think about, which is in medical provision. Of course, India is underserved by hospitals, doctors and so on. We need to increase investments in those areas. But again, we need to begin thinking especially for care for the geriatric segment. Historically, of course, this segment was small, but as I just pointed out, in certain parts of the country, this segment will go up very, very dramatically. Finally, we need to begin to revisit retirement ages. If we are going to live so much longer, then it will be the case that there will be a significant proportion of the population above the age of 60 still able to work. This has important implications for provision of pensions, for provision of insurance, and so on. Now, in many places around the world, they have already begun to increase the retirement age. We are, of course, far away from the stage where, say, Japan or Germany are. Nevertheless, this is something that needs to be signaled well in advance. We can't just turn up a later stage and announce that we are changing retirement ages because people, have personal plans and of course the calculations for pension and so on get influenced. So we need to right up front begin to thinking about when and how we are going to change retirement ages and announce them well in advance so that all institutions and individuals can adjust their plans.